Most of the time that people go to a Google business profile, they already know your name or they got that from somewhere. That's why we focus specifically on the website and where that came from. That tells me that they found you organically or from a service page on your website. Taking credit for Google My Business calls, that's not really a thing to do.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Raving Patients Podcast. I want to thank the sponsors, both Dental Intelligence and the Doc Sites, for their support. And I also want to remind everybody about my event, Supercharge Your Dental Practice in 2025. We'll be back in South Florida at Pier 66 Resort. We have 12 amazing speakers that we're just getting ready to announce very, very shortly. Again, superchargeyourdentalpractice.com. You can check it out and look forward to seeing you in Fort Lauderdale in 2025. My guest is Spencer McCutchen, and we're going to be talking about transparency in marketing, call tracking, call coaching, and a number of other things related to dental marketing in your practice. Spencer is a business development executive at Media NV. With over 7 years of experience in the dental industry, he specializes in helping dental professionals supercharge their digital marketing to bring in new patients on demand. So please welcome to the Raving Patients Podcast, Spencer McCutchen. Spencer, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Lynn, thanks for having me. Happy to be on here.
So why don't you first off kind of expand on your bio a little bit, tell people about your time in the industry and what you've seen from the marketing perspective working for various companies during that time frame.
Absolutely. So quick, simple, easy intro. I've been in the field for about 7 years now, and specifically digital marketing for practices. Now, I didn't always start with just dental, but started with a company back in 2018. Going to trade shows and just reaching out, trying to get practices involved, whether it was veterinarian, dental, chiropractic. We kind of did the entire scope of everything. So the idea was the same. It was to bring on new patients for practices. However, at these other companies, was a couple different companies I worked at before Media Envy, and it was more so focused on just website design. It was focused on having a company there to just offload that sort of project to, right? Really just focused on making it look a little nicer. Maybe it was saving a little bit of money on the marketing or the website. As most people know, as you know, there's a lot of frustrations that are built around the topic of digital marketing, whatever it may be, but that was sort of our place. It was save a little bit of money, try to have a little less headache, and hopefully the doctor doesn't reach out after, where we've been working on their stuff for quite some time. Hopefully it just goes unnoticed. We're doing a good enough job to do that. And it was at a price point to really, that makes sense. Most people aren't really reaching out. I think there's a place for that in this world, but I just don't think everybody, I think some people need a little bit more than that, especially if you're looking to grow, if you're looking to bring on new patients and things like that. Okay. So, my transition into Media Envy, so they reached out and wanted to grow more of the United States base, and we're dental specific and actually doing the right thing. So I'll reverse a little bit, just kind of talk about Media Envy. So Media Envy is a husband and wife owned company. It started in Canada about 8 years ago, and really just develop the back end of everything. So focusing on more the development of the website, the work on the SEO side or search engine optimization, and then just really focus on delivering results. And their company really grew more organically, rather than, hey, let's get out there, let's be at every trade show, let's dress in suits and make sure we stop every single person so they know about us. It was organic. Everything was word of mouth, like a lot of dental practices. So I thought that was very cool, very unique that they just focused on doing the work. And, just recently they said, hey, we need to get the word out. It's time. Let's grow this thing. Let's get, they were 60% based in Canada. The other 40% was in the States, and they decided, hey, let's get the word out. Let's start going to more conferences, and this is where you come in. And so it's been refreshing. It's been refreshing to be with a part of a company that really just takes an interest in the unique goals of each practice. And it's not a set it and forget it or one size all, fits approach. I know you're familiar with it. You've seen it tons of times, but it's nice. You develop relationships in this industry, right? Like just becoming friends with some of the doctors and practice owners for who they are rather than just, their practice name. You start to figure out what they want to do and where they want to grow. And, sometimes that fell back, being in different companies, saying, hey, like, sorry, we dropped the ball. And that was a tough feeling. So, it's nice, refreshing being a part of a company that actually cares. So.
Well, that's great. That's great. And thank you for sharing your journey, starting at where you started in the industry to where you are now. It definitely sounds like you have the client's focus at heart. You want to make sure that you're delivering results to them, which may not have been the case with the former companies that you were at. So let's dive right in here. Let's talk about where you see transparency in marketing. There's a ton of marketing companies in dental industry. When you go to a trade show, you see 8, 10, sometimes 15 different companies, all basically offering, hey, with chance to get more new patients. We're going to build a website. We're going to do SEO. We're going to do social. We're going to help with reviews, blah, 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 blah. So so where do you see the transparency come about? Because again, there's such a big opportunity to use various different companies or select one company to do everything. And just so the people know, I am not a fan of one company to do everything. I think that you need to have multiple companies working for you. Yes, a single company is going to be most likely cheaper because they're going to do everything, but that doesn't mean they're great at everything they do. So I want you to hear that from me, just so you understand where I am, what my perspective is on things. So, talk about transparency in marketing here.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple different areas to talk about when it comes to transparency in marketing. Like you said, you go to a conference here in the States, especially one of the big ones, there's 15, competing digital marketing companies just screaming, trying to get as most attention as they can. And it's like, who do you trust, right? I think it starts there of everyone promising the world these giant goals of, hey, I can, guarantee this, or you're going to be number one on Google for dental implants and all these big promises. And, I think you need to take it a step further. So from the beginning of the project, for example, once you take on a specific project, rather than just, we mentioned it earlier, it's not a one size fits all approach. You can't just slap together a templated site and hope and pray that you get that number one spot. There's a lot of due diligence that needs to go in. And that's one of the differences I saw with Media Envy and feeling just being a part of this company is that we actually sit down with you for, an hour at a time just to figure out what are your unique goals? What's the idea or the personality behind just the business name or the practice name? Where are you looking to go? So we can take all these points and bring them into the building process. And that's just going to help people convert on the back end. So that I think is one step of people can really feel that transparency. Okay, well, they're actually starting to do the things that they say they are going to do. I wasn't just thrown into the wind and thrown this random account manager that I never hear from. We're more involved. And that's sort of just the tip of the iceberg. And then once you dive further in is being able to show our clients the amount of work that's being done when it comes to SEO. SEO in this industry has just been this black box of a topic. And it's like, well, we're going to do this, so we're going to do that. And you never really get to see, you just are supposed to trust the repercussions of that. Okay, well, I'm going up in rankings for this keyword or this or that. So we've basically just decided to put everything out and say, hey, these are the blogs we've worked on. This is the name, address, phone number optimization that we're working on this month. Or if we are working with other companies, this is where it is. This is the content that's been written on the website. Any changes that you've asked for, here is when it was actually accomplished by which department. Everything is accessible so you can see exactly what's being worked on. So I think that's a big difference as well. And then the third, I think, most important topic is just the results. So once again, going back to that, okay, you're going up in rankings here for this keyword, but what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything unless it actually is butts in the chair. That's the name of the game. So we actually show you guys names and numbers of every patient that books through our efforts every single month, where they came from, how they got to you. So not only are you able to, rest with ease knowing, what you're investing in is working and bringing money back into the practice, but also that, those are data points that we can, access and find out, okay, well, this worked. This is the ideal patient avatar that we're going after. Let's repeat that, or let's get rid of this. This isn't quite, serving us as well as we thought it would. We're able to learn from these things, as much as we can. So, I think those are the main topics and the main points when it comes to transparency that just isn't being done as much in the industry, and what sets, a few companies apart from the bulk of others, 15, 20 that show up at every trade show.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is frustrating for dentists in general is they are paying a fee a month for over a monthly fee, and they are supposed to receive services for those fees. But a lot of times they don't even know what is being done, and they don't know what they're paying for. They just know, hey, they're supposed to do SEO. They're supposed to get more new patients into my practice. They built a website. They update it when I need it to update. That's generally what I hear, but yet they don't truly know what results they're getting from the marketing they're doing. And I ask them, so do you get new patients, or how do they prove they're getting new patients to you? And a lot of times they said, I don't know. And if you don't know something, you have to wonder if they're actually providing any service at all. So one of the things that I like is when companies are able to prove that or show that they've generated a lead, they've gotten the lead to come into the office. Obviously, that's where the marketing company's job is really over at that point. I always like to say the marketing company's job is to get them to the phone or the door, and the rest is up to the dentist. And a lot of times the dentist brings them in and can't close them. So yes, they came in as a new patient, but they didn't convert them. That is not a marketing company's fault. That's the dentist's fault because he sucks at case acceptance. So that's an entirely different situation, which a lot of companies, whether they look at that or not, the conversion of the new patients is a big deal. So, can you talk to, again, I think this has to go to the transparency as well, but also, ensuring that the, practices are getting leads, okay, for them to convert. Is really the point of what I'm trying to get at. So I know you have a way to kind of show that off and prove to the practice that, hey, we're doing this for you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So we focus on the actual call tracking. That's where they're coming from. So dynamic number insertion placed on website, and any Google ads or ad campaigns that they're running. Well, we actually have teams that listen to each and every phone call to find out if they're booking. Now, you're right. We can't really take credit or, most of the times we step back once that lead comes in or they book an appointment. It's as far as you can go. But with call tracking, you can go a step further. We can actually dissect each phone call, figure out what's happening. We don't take credit for referrals or existing patients, which can be kind of frustrating when you have a marketing company saying, well, we got this many, leads for you guys. And they're like, well, this is somebody who already knew my business. This is an existing patient. So we definitely, get rid of those type of things. And, so kind of back to focusing on, we kind of take it a step further. So instead of just kind of saying hands off once they come into the practice, we can even go a step further and really dissect performance of the staff that's answering the phone calls. So I can tell you conversion rates based on, if that appointment booked or if, Susie's just having a bad day or a bad week, on the phones, and really, show conversion rates based on who's answering the phones. And if you want, we can go a step further and actually conduct call coaching based on, what we hear from top performers in the office. Now we don't know everything that does go into the office, but we're going to, sit down and say, hey, these are our insights. This is what we've found to show success from, say Linda in the office compared to Susie. Now Susie may try this next month, whether that's something as simple as just answering the phone with a smile on your face. We're happy to help and go that extra step just to ensure the marketing is working within the office. That's how we really kind of drill down and find out who's booking appointments. So from the call tracking as well as the forms built on the website, everything is transcribed and listed for you each and every month in a dashboard that everyone has access to.
So I want to ask a question, and I want to make sure it's not a loaded question for you. I have a very big pet peeve in the industry. And you mentioned call tracking numbers, and I don't mind a call tracking number that's on the website, because your job as a marketing company is to basically send traffic to the website, whether it's through Google AdWords or any type of advertising or just getting the website ranked higher. Ultimately, those people are going to fall on the website. Okay. What have a problem with in the industry is, and there's many companies that do this, that go ahead and put a call tracking number, the same number that's on the website, also on the Google My Business profile. And my concern with this is that if Susie Jones refers John Smith to the practice, Susie Jones is going to go to Google and type the practice name in, and they're going to see the number on the Google My Business listing, which then is the call tracking number for the marketing company. And that's not a lead from the marketing company. That is a lead from a patient. So I want your opinion on this, and the fact that you work for a marketing company. So I wanted your thoughts on this as well.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you 100%. Most of the time that people go to a Google business profile, they already know your name or that they got that from somewhere. So that's why we focus specifically on the website and where that came from, because that tells me that they found you organically or from, a service page on your website. So I agree with you 100%. I think, taking credit for Google My Business calls that's not really a thing to do, I don't think.
So when you are talking about competitors of yours, I'm not going to name anybody's names here, but when someone comes to you and says, "Hey, this company has a call tracking number on your Google My Business page or on their Google My Business page," what is your response to someone like that?
Well, I guess I try to find out a little bit more information. So if they're claiming that all of these new patients are coming to you from the Google Business profile, that's to say, exactly what I explained earlier. I think somebody already knows your name. That's probably 9 times out of 10 a referral that they're typing in. So I like to dissect it a little further before just sort of bashing right away, because I think tracking it isn't the worst thing in the world, but I think taking credit for it is something that shouldn't be done.
Got it. Okay, and that's what I would hope, because again, at the end of the year, they're going to say, "Hey, guess what? We've got all these leads for you." But when you do a deeper dive, they've only gotten a very small percentage of it. So it's really done for them to elevate their results. So the client wants to remain with them in the second, third, or fourth year moving forward. So that's my biggest concern, is they're elevating something that they had nothing to do with. So
that's right. No, and it happens all the time. So whether it's Google Business Profile, kind of fluffing numbers to hopefully you stay a little bit longer, pay us that extra check, or maybe it's just being on a phone call. Oh, we tracked a phone call going over 2 minutes. That's a booked appointment in our eyes, which that's just not the case. I just don't think you can do that. You actually have to listen to how that conversation went. So no, I totally agree with you.
Got it. Perfect. Great. So I then want to talk a little bit about something you alluded to, which was not only do you track the calls, which I think is really good, but you also provide coaching if necessary. And I think call coaching is a very big deal. So can you spend a couple minutes talking about how call coaching works with your company?
Yeah, so it's not a one size fits all approach. I don't think everyone does need it. And sometimes, being a marketing company, you may not sit in the best position to say, "Hey, we're going to coach your team. We know the ins and outs and how to answer phones." No, I think it's just taking the data that we've collected over who is answering the phones and being able to have that extra step to go a little bit further than the everyday marketing company to say, "Hey, we are getting these leads. We are getting, some booked appointments, but here's how I think we can go a step further and just increase this number a little bit." So yeah, just taking, the data points of, conversion rate from staff members and saying, "Hey, this is what we've seen your top performers doing in the office. Maybe try this." If, sometimes, a practice owner or a doctor doesn't want to step on toes, and kind of do that within their own office, they have this resource to say, "Hey, they actually have the numbers. They actually have the recordings and have listened to these things. Maybe give this a shot." So we find it, sometimes helpful. Doesn't happen all the time. It is a resource though, if practices do need it and want to utilize it.
And then do you have a team that handles that? Do you have coaches that you hire? They're on staff at your company? Talk about that process of getting the coaching done.
Yeah, so we have a team that basically collects the data, they listen to the phone calls, and then they actually provide the feedback. And then the account manager, or somebody who's been working with that practice, who already has a relationship with them, is the one that presents that information over a call coaching with the team. So it's not just some outside source. We just go over the data with them from somebody that they know, a trusted source.
Got it. Makes sense. So let's talk about, you have a special program at MediaNV, and I wanted to make most of this podcast non-salesy, which I think so far we have. So let's transition a little bit here, and let's talk about, you guys have a patient promise program. So can you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, we have a patient promise program, which is pretty much a guarantee. So what we've kind of found in the industry, we're taking all of these things that I've sort of discussed a little bit and touched on today, but we've put them all together in a package. So SEO, website development, Google advertising, meta advertising, and then the call tracking behind it to say, hey, we're guaranteeing you a minimum of either 5 or 10 new patients, booked appointments every single month. If you don't hit that benchmark that we're so confident in, then you won't pay. You simply don't pay for that month, and you continue on forward until we do get you those patients. And that's pretty much it. In a nutshell, we're confident in what we do. We've seen the results. We think we can get you a lot more than that, but that's pretty much enough to cover your initial investment and everything moving forward. So, yeah, that's our package. It's been working well for a lot of practices. A lot of startups do go with that. And we're able to kind of knock it out of the park from month one, hitting that 5 or 10 new patients a month.
So if you don't hit the number of new patients that your program guarantees, is it free service? Do they not pay for a certain period of time? How does that operate?
Yeah, so they don't pay for the month. So typically our billing doesn't run to the end of a month, which is great. So that way you are able to, crunch the numbers, say, hey, this many booked appointments happened this month or this many didn't, then you just don't pay for that month.
Got it. Okay. And then if it continues on, you don't pay for the next month, but once you get them back up to the certain number of new patients that you guarantee, then they continue with paying in the bill then.
Then you'll continue on. Yeah. So if there's, a brand new practice starting in Manhattan, that just can't seem to hit that benchmark month 1, month 2, sometimes that happens. But you're not paying for those months. We're still putting in the work. You're still getting the SEO growth. And so by that month 3 and month 4, you're starting to hit those numbers and you start to rise through those ranks. Yeah, exactly. And then you just get right back on where that package is.
And then just to review the services that MediaNV provides, can you talk about what a typical package looks like? And I know it's, you probably have, it's a customized package for each person you're dealing with, but can you kind of give a price range based on what services we're just talking about here? So what does a typical package look like for a practice that is coming to you?
Good question. So, right out of the gate, we do website development. We like to have custom photos and videos on there. So that's included in sort of what we do. So there is usually generally a one-time setup investment of $6,000, and that'll, we'll throw in a photo video shoot for the practice. Now for sort of a monthly management fee for the SEO, for the website, this includes call tracking and the back-end software to show you these are the names and numbers of new patients booking every month. That's just a grand total of $1,000 a month. And that's just a set standard. We don't really have any lower packages. Everything is included in what we do. The only difference or exception is if you're doing social media or if you're doing the PPP 5 or PPP 10. And at that rate, it's the highest you go is $3,500 a month.
So you're offering website design, SEO, and if they want social media and pay-per-click advertising. Those are really the 4 main things other than call tracking, call coaching, or other things. Those are the 4 main services that you're providing.
Yep.
Again, website and SEO for everyone. And if they want pay-per-click and if they want social media, and from a social media perspective, are you creating the content and posting for them? What are you doing from a social media perspective?
Yeah, it depends on the practice. We will create and post content for them. But I'm not here to say, hey, that's going to be the best content in the world. There's only so much you can come up with from an outsider's perspective. So I like to suggest if a practice can come up with that and they can have somebody that they just appoint to posting that content, do that. If you want to take a little workload off, if you can create the content, send it over. We'll, brand it to you guys and post, once a day, 5 times a week on each platform.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. So before we transition to the lightning round Q&A that I like to do, is there any other content, any other topics that you feel you wanted to discuss before we transition?
I guess one last thing I wanted to touch on was just sort of bringing it back to the website. So no matter what company's doing, all of the advertising or SEO that is done for your practice, even if it works really well, you need to have a website that does convert these patients into booked appointments. And so where we found over the data points over the last few years is really just focusing on, why somebody's buying or why somebody's clicking that book an appointment. And a lot of that comes down to custom photo, custom video, or even just arranging the website in a way that's going to give the best patient experience on that site. So just tapping into a little bit more of that psychological buying power, if you will, I think is a big part of making that fluid transition or conducing, patient bookings. I think that's a big point that I just wanted to touch on there.
Got it. All right. So we'll get your contact information in a little bit. We're going to convert to our lightning round Q&A. For those that have not listened to an episode yet, I do this every episode with the guest. I ask them some random questions. This is very much business based. So let's see what we got here. First question, Spencer, how many hours a day do you work on average?
Per day? I mean, I guess I would say 10 to 12.
Typical day. Okay, perfect. Do you have a favorite business podcast that you recommend to others?
Business podcast that I recommend to others. I mean, I kind of bounce around. I like filling my head with a lot of different things. I'm going to go very generic, not even business podcast. I like Joe Rogan Experience. I hop on there depending on who the guest is. You can get tidbits from everything with 3 hours of content. So
got it. Perfect. What habits have helped make you successful? So are there any habits that you have that you think make you successful in your business?
I think taking ownership. Taking ownership has been a habit that I've kind of really developed that's helped out a lot. Even if an issue arises and it could be a member on your team or somebody part of your project management staff, I think taking ownership of that and where something goes awry and focusing on how to fix it really just helps derive a solution a lot easier.
Okay. Describe Mondays for you in one word.
Jam-packed.
Jam-packed. Okay. All right. If you had a chance to start your career over again, what would you do differently?
Work harder.
All right. How do you capture and keep track of ideas? Do you keep a notebook? Do you do voice memos? What is your process for keeping track of ideas?
Journaling. Yeah, I think pen to paper, I think, does it for me still.
That's great. What was the one thing you wanted to be when you grew up, when you were a kid?
I want to be a firefighter.
Definitely a different direction there you went. So.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. What business-related book has inspired you the most? Or another way of saying it is, what is your favorite book?
It's Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, and that's kind of what I touched upon earlier. Is one of those habits that's kind of transformed who I am.
Okay. Now, this is specifically at work. What is something that you're most excited about right now at work?
I am excited about just getting the word out about this company. So doing podcasts like this, doing more smaller, intimate shows, being able to speak. That's something I'm very passionate about right now, and just getting the word out. Just my experience being with other companies, just wanting to help out as much as I can.
Perfect. Let's see what we got here. How do you think you build a successful client base?
I think it's communication. I think it's just building a relationship. Just true transparency as far as like being able to talk to somebody and understand, how their day is going rather than just the numbers of everything.
Okay. Has anyone in particular in your network been important to your current journey?
I think I'm going to name drop here, but Hendrik Lai of Sage Consulting has been a huge sort of mentor, being able to bounce ideas off of him and just talk to him about the industry and just gain a little bit more insight of, what he's done to find success. He's been a huge help for me.
That's really interesting. You mentioned his name because I just did a podcast with Shayna Holman, and she name dropped Hendrik indirectly. So that's really funny. Yeah, that's funny. What profession do you think is most undervalued today? I know this is a strange answer, but I think copywriting can be undervalued just where we're at right now with ChatGPT and everything kind of going on in the AI world. I think copywriting is undervalued. Okay. 2 more questions. What has been your most satisfying moment in business? I think it would probably have to be just public speaking. I can't pick one off the top of my head, but that fear, I think, of getting on stage, I get nervous, and being able to get up there and just knock it out of the park is a true sensation. I know you can kind of speak to that, but I just get up there and entertain. I don't get nervous. I don't get nervous. So that's good. And last question. Now, this could be either business or personal. Okay. What is one subscription that you cannot live without? Interesting. I think it would have to be Netflix. I mean, I go back to it. You have those comforts that, new show comes on and you sort of binge watch it when you can, and
take your mind off everything, I think that would have to be my go-to.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a very popular answer.
Not at all. Yeah.
All right. So I don't know. I know you didn't provide the information here, but there was an offer that you were going to throw out. Are you familiar with what that offer is? We didn't discuss it before the episode.
I believe I do. If I'm wrong, I get a slap on the wrist, but I think it's worth it.
Okay. What is that? You want to announce it?
Yeah, for listeners that come out and then want some help, and I think we'd be willing to do a free website. So kind of wave everything out the door and get you started and kind of help out if you need it. We're willing to kind of go that extra mile to do that.
All right. So Spencer, how can people reach out to you if they're interested in learning more what Media NV can do for them?
A couple different ways. So Instagram, Media NV Marketing, LinkedIn, Media NV, and you can reach out to me personally at spencer@medianv.com. And our website, medianv.com. So
do you want to share your cell phone number too or no?
Yeah, why not? Cell phone number, 858-431-6875. Shoot me a text, give me a call anytime.
And it's spencer@medianv.com.
Correct. Yep.
Perfect. All right, Spencer, this was really good. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise in the marketing space with our audience. Guys, if you like the episode, you like to hear what Spencer can do or Media NV can do for your practice, please reach out to them and mention you heard about them on the Raving Patients podcast to be able to get that free website build, so they can certainly help you out there. I'm together with them at a lot of my dental meetings. They position themselves next to me, and I do have some cross references there or referrals there. So, if you want to reach out to them, please do, and use them for your marketing. And remember, they have the patient promise program so they basically put their money to their mouth. So if they don't deliver what they say they're going to deliver, you don't pay them. It's simple as that. So I like companies that offer that type of guarantee per se. But again, if you liked it, please reach out to them. If you like the episode and you think a colleague would be interested, please send them the link to the podcast. Remember, we come out Fridays at 5 a.m. We're almost done with season 7. We're going to be entering season 8. It's pretty amazing. We've done that many episodes. And again, remember about Supercharge. Supercharge your dental practice, superchargeyourdentalpractice.com. It's September 26th and 27th in 2025 back in South Florida at Pier 66 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So we'll be announcing speakers soon, so you'll be able to register for that event. We're expecting 250 to 300 people. We're really excited to have that event in 2025. Spencer, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your insight on the marketing industry. And as I end every single one of my episodes, remember, your reputation matters. Until the next episode, Spencer, thanks again, and we'll talk to everyone soon.